Shepnaz podcast begins now.
You're listening to the Shepnaz podcast, a podcast by Shepherd Church. Everything we do here is to connect our community in a meaningful relationship with Christ, and we're expecting great things. My name's Joey. I'm the host of this podcast, and today I'm joined once again by Pastor Rob Paul. And today is a camp update, and you don't want to miss it. Might be a quick episode, but we got some really exciting things happening at the camp, so we're going to come on over here to Pastor Rob and talk about it.
Awesome.
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Not bad. I was going to say that it's a Logan camp update, but that would be...
It is in Logan.
Yeah, it's in Logan, but that wouldn't be what we should call it anymore.
No.
Praise
the Lord.
So there's a new name for the camp.
Yeah, so we've called it Logan Conference Center for 20-some years.
Yep.
I don't know how many conferences have happened there, nor do I know how many people actually go to conferences much anymore. But we felt like we needed to rebrand it, give it a logo, give it a good name that is more descriptive of what we do there, what we hope happens there, what we plan to happen there. And so got the green light from the board and all that kind of stuff. We had a big contest, opened it up to a bunch of people to submit names. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of good names. There was some that were like, wow, that's just my favorite
acronyms.
My favorite name that was, there were some of those. But my favorite name that came in was by Daniel Longenecker, who said we should call this Camp Logan Stone. And I would have voted for that, right? And if you don't remember or you're new to the church, Logan Stone was our worship leader for about 8 years, I think, 7 or 8 years, maybe longer than that. And he's at a different church now, but that was great. But we didn't go with that. So what we did go with is, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, there's a guy who won the contest, and we ended up going with Hocking Hills Retreat Center.
Yeah.
And nice, yes.
The kids love it.
Yes, they do.
The kids are loving it.
And what's great about it is it's what we want to happen there. Yeah. I mean, if that's what it's going to be, there are going to be those kind of things happening there. Conferences
can happen, but the idea is that it's a place to get away and get with God, and you get to enjoy the stuff that He's created and be with Him and retreat and abide.
Yeah, part of our vision is that people will experience the presence of God in nature. Yeah. I know for me that's the best place to go out and experience the Lord's presence. Just being alone, being out there, seeing what He's created. And so we're gonna have a ton of stuff. It'll be a 365-day-a-year camp. It's gonna be amazing. So we got a cool logo and all that kind of stuff. If you'd be interested in seeing the logo and all that kind of stuff, there'll be a link in the show notes. And you can actually click the link and sign up for a newsletter that comes out regularly.
Periodically.
It's a sort of regularly newsletter that comes out, but just gives updates as to things that are going on and all that kind of stuff. So we're really, really excited about that. So we'll get some swag going soon and make that available to people.
Cool. And there's two major projects that you're sort of in the middle of right now. And the first is one of the main features of the retreat center is that we wanted to provide a water feature. Yeah. Summer camp for teenagers and kids is better with a lake.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty. There's all sorts of things you can do. You
Tons
can fish.
Of stuff to do.
So, and we currently there is not one on. It's a huge property. Yeah. With very little water on it.
Right. There's a creek that runs through it, and there's a river that borders the property, but there's no lake. And so we wanted to put in a lake, and so I was talking to I don't know,
you
like you can't look in the yellow pages and say who digs lakes. So the Lord kind of led us to a guy who an excavator who does lakes, and I didn't even know the guy, but talked to him and ended up finding out after he came down and was doing the test dig that he's a Christian and a bivocational or co-vocational pastor. Mm-hmm. And so it was really cool to be able to connect with him, and he understood the vision of what we were doing. So we did a test dig, had to have a certain kind of soil that holds the water, clay. And on our third test dig, we hit a big old vein of clay that's about 15 to 16 feet deep. And so we'll be able to put a lake in, and it's going to be about a 5-acre lake. So that's a pretty big lake. And
that's awesome. You
got to move a lot of dirt. Think about 5 acres and then digging a hole that's 5 acres big, that's 15 feet deep. Is a lot, and so you got to pull some of that dirt out and then put some clay back in and run over it, make sure you make it stick for the bottom.
Several Sundays each year, we have an opportunity for child dedication. When parents dedicate their children, they are showing a desire to commit them to the Lord and His service. Our next dedication will be on Mother's Day, May 14th, during both worship services at 9 and 10:45 a.m. If your family is ready to take this step, let us know by emailing podcast@shepnaz.org or visit the connection card on the contact page at shepnaz.org. Are you new to the church? The pastors would love the chance to get to know you. Tuesday, May 15th at 6 p.m., Shepherd will host Pizza with the Pastors at Massey's Pizza in Gahanna. If you would like to join them, let us know by emailing podcast@shepnaz.org.
But it's really interesting. So I said, so we got it. So we got the lake, right? Or we got the clay, everything's right. And I'm like, what do we do next? He's like, well, we need a blueprint. And I'm like, you just can't dig a hole in the ground to build a lake. You got to have a blueprint. She's like, yeah, you got to have a blueprint. So I called our architect and I said, hey, well, we're going to put a lake in. I don't know. We need blueprints for the lake. Can you help us out? And he goes, yep. He'll connect us with a civil engineer. Civil engineer says, yep, I can do that for you. I'll put an estimate together. About a week later, I get the estimate. It's got like soil boring, geological surveys, topographical surveys, FEMA map things, floodplain things, Army Corps of Engineers stuff, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and all this stuff. And then the bottom line was like $128,000.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's a really expensive hole. So I was kind of disappointed because it's going to cost a lot of money to move the dirt too, to make the lake. So I'm like, we got to spend $128,000 before we even start digging the hole. Mm-hmm. And so I was like kind of bummed about that. Then the guy, the excavator, his name is Jeremy, calls and he goes, hey man, I was just talking to a friend who works with the ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And he says, he said he didn't think that we have to do that down in Logan. So I'm like,
they do things different down there.
They do. It's a little bit different. If we were building the lake on our property in Franklin County, we'd have to do that. But he's like, down there, I think you should check this out. And so I said, well, who do I check with? And he's like, call it like the city planner, or county planner, engineer, something like that. So just so happens, I called Rodney, who's the camp manager down there. Mm-hmm. Rodney knows everybody and everything, has done everything and been everywhere, and can get anything for a great price. But he said, yeah, I know the guy we need to talk to. We actually sold him a piece of our property, and he built a house on it. And so he said, let me go talk to him. And so he said, he went and talked to him. He says, yeah, we want to put in a lake down here, and what do we need to do? And he says, well, here's an application. You got to fill that out. And so he got the application, gave it to Rodney. Rodney gave it to me, and I'm like, I don't know how to fill this out. There's stuff on here that doesn't make sense to me. So I called Rodney. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. He goes, well, I'll go take it back to him. And he goes, Rodney goes to the guy. He goes, we're not really sure how to fill this out. Can you help us out? He goes like, just sign it. Give me the $50 application fee. I'll fill it out, and you're good to go. And Rodney's like, what? That's exactly what Rodney. So we ended up
like an actual recording of Rodney.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys know that. We had him come in, did a few different tests.
Yeah.
And
So we went from, hopefully this doesn't get out. This only falls on the right ears, but we went from $128,000 potential to just start it to, we filled out an application, we're good to go, $50. And so we'll be able to run the creek into it, so it'll have a lot fresh water all the time. It'll have a spillway that'll come back out and go back into the creek. And so, but the reason we wanted to do this is because the guy's like, that's about 4 to 5 million gallons of water. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take about a year to fill it up. And then once it gets filled up, it's got to settle in and make, so that then stuff can start growing and all that. So we're a year to year and a half out of using it once we get it built. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, we're building cabins this summer. We need to get going. So yeah, so that's why. So it was really cool. And then the other thing that the architect told me was that be about a year and a half, about a year to year and a half of paperwork before we get the green light to do it. So I'm like, yeah, well, we know a guy who we paid $50 and we're in. So
we got the green light.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you mentioned just now that we're building some cabins this summer. I know we've got all sorts of lumber.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Where are we sitting at there?
Yeah. So we built we milled all the wood last summer. Rodney figured up it was about $500,000 worth of wood. We spent $50,000 doing it. Got $500,000 worth of lumber. It's all sitting there, ready to go, dry. We've got our plans back from the state approved. We are identifying excavators to start moving the dirt and put in the concrete pads for the cabins to be built on, and then we'll start building this summer. So
that's awesome.
I'm hoping I'm hoping that before this month is over, we'll have concrete pads and start putting the electric and plumbing in there. And in June, hopefully start with the wood building the structure. So it's coming along. Yeah. Next problem we didn't think about was once we have kids down there sleeping, we need to have a place to go to the bathroom. So we got to get shower houses built now too. So we have the plans for that. But yeah,
that's important.
So it's always, but it's good. It's exciting. God's doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
He's supplying.
Well, we're excited. And if you want to keep up to date with what's happening at the Hocking Hills Retreat Center, go ahead and click that link in the show notes, and you can get signed up for Pastor Rob's periodic email, so he can keep you up to date with what's going on. You can see the new logo, all sorts of stuff, and when we get some swag out there, people can support it, and we can start kind of building towards this amazing retreat center.
Yeah. And one more thing before we go. The other thing is that if you'd be interested in helping us out this summer, we're building it like work and witness style. So there's going to be a contractor to oversee everything, but you can come swing a hammer and help us put the walls up and the roof and all that good stuff. So it'll be, and you'll get a free T-shirt that says, I help build Hocking Hills Retreat Center if you come and help.
I thought you were going to give the I Am We Are shirts. We got any of those left?
No, but those are great shirts. Yeah. I like the shirt a lot.
Super comfy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's going to do it then for this. That was our camp update. We're glad for you for listening. Thanks for being here. If you want to know more about what's happening with that, don't forget, click the link, sign up for the email. If you want to know more what's happening at Shepherd, go to shepnaz.org, find our social media pages, like and subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at podcast@shepnaz.org. For Pastor Rob, I'm Joey. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.